Speedrunning has got to be some of the best content to ever come out of gaming. The idea of trying to beat your favorite games as fast as possible might seem counterintuitive, but it's honestly a really fun way to mix things up, and you might have even tried it yourself. But me personally, I do not have that dog in me. You have to have the patience of a saint, a lot of time, a lot of dedication to get really, really good at these games. I am a very happy spectator, and lucky for me, there are tons of different ways to go about consuming it. Live streams, highlight videos, documentaries, video essays. There's absolutely no shortage of content to consume. And some of these rabbit holes go really, really deep. And any percent run can be defined as getting from start to finish as fast as possible by any means possible. Glitches, sequence breaks, anything you can think of, it's fair game in this category. Let's look at the history for Ocarina of Time, for example. If you're a guy like me, it's probably going to take you around 20 to 25 hours to beat Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time's first any percent run was done in 6 hours, 45 minutes, and 17 seconds by Mike TSA Damani. And if you're not familiar with Ocarina of Time speedruns, this seems like a pretty great time. Like, ideally he shaved off like, what, 20 hours of a normal run? This has to be pretty good, right? All right, let's skip ahead 10 years. On August 22nd, 2013, Narissa Wright set the world record at 19 minutes and 15 seconds. What the hell happened? From 2003 to 2013, obviously they found a ton of stuff to shorten this speedrun. So let's do a play-by-play of what they found and how it changed the game. In Mike's run, the intro is done virtually the same as a normal person playing it. He just does it really fast and really well. He gets the sword, he gets the shield, he goes into the Deku tree, kills Goma, leaves the forest. In Wright's run, they get the sword, they go into the Lost Woods, they do a glitch called Jump Slash to get to the bottom of this fountain, which puts them at Zora's Domain. Once at Zora's Domain, they make a mad dash to Kakariko where they get the first bottle, they get bugs, and then they reset back to the forest. They buy the Deku shield, they go into the Deku tree, they climb to the very top, they do a very specific side hop and a very specific jump slash to skip virtually 80% of the dungeon, and they enter the Goma fight. Now, this might already seem pretty crazy to you, but bear with me, it's about to get really insane. Once they enter the fight, they do the infinite sword glitch on Goma, and they run all the way back to the door. They start backflipping into the door until Goma pushes them out of bounds. They then run up to the edge of the door and they use the infinite sword glitch they activated to defeat Goma on the other side of it. After Goma falls, they leave the boss room, go back in, and immediately face the door. They drop the bugs out of the bottle, they pick them back up, they do a very specific set of movements at a specific timing to backflip into the warp zone. They immediately pull the bottle and it's used as a type of ocarina. Once the warp cutscene ends, Link remains in the boss room, puts the bottle away, does another set of very specific movements and options until they arrive back at the door, go through it, and bam. They're somehow in Ganon's castle as it's collapsing. Now this is a very convoluted and confusing sequence of events to follow. From leaving the forest early to going to Kakariko to get the bottle and the bugs, it's also that wrong warp could be set up, which is what got Narissa Wright from the Goma battle to Ganon's castle. This is all super complicated. It involves a lot of memory value manipulation, but what's really important is how it changed Ocarina of Time going forward. Over the span of 10 years, they found so much, it takes you longer to finish a game of League of Legends than it does to beat Ocarina of Time. But surely it can't get much faster than that, right? Let's fast forward another 10 years to today. The world record is currently sitting at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. With the new speedrun times, it takes about as long to watch the opening cutscene as it does to beat the actual game. Wrong warping used to take a little bit of time and effort to set up, having to get the bottle and all that. Now, they do it all within Kokiri Forest. Where for getting the bottle, you get the sword, you go to the Deku tree, you turn back, you go over to the crawl space, you talk to the sign, you get this really weird camera angle, you turn on your metronome, and I have no idea what's happening. I had an idea and an understanding of what happened in the 2013 run. I couldn't explain this to you if I tried. This game has become so optimized, it's hard to imagine it's going to get any faster than that. But knowing Ocarina of Time in 10 years, it's going to look like this. As impressive and amazing as this is, it's so hard to understand for the average spectator. I don't want to toot my own horn, but if someone like me is struggling to comprehend what's going on, someone who's not super involved with video games has to be so confused during this. Super Metroid is the complete opposite of this. Even if you're not a huge gamer, you can understand why this is sick. Super Metroid is all about good movement. Sure, it has a couple glitches, but at its core, it was a game already designed to be beat as fast as possible. While Ocarina of Time speedrun had a push and an emphasis on trying to find glitches to break the game to its core, Super Metroid Speedrun has spent the entire time optimizing movement and getting it down as perfect as possible. Whether you're a super casual fan of games or you're really involved in the speedrun, I think it's much easier for both parties to appreciate why this is so cool. Both of these games are some of the most ran games of all time, but it doesn't mean other games aren't getting any love either. My favorite part about Summoning Salt videos is, of course, he covers the major stuff like Mario Kart, Zelda, Pokemon in beautiful in-depth detail, but he also covers the nichest things you would have never heard of, and he makes it so exciting. I didn't think I would ever care about the history of LEGO Star Wars speedruns, but I was invested learning about the race for sub 230, and I popped off when E-Roadhouse clutched it out. He has done so much to bring light to underrepresented games, and it even inspired a lot of other people to make similar content about games they run. And I'm all for it. I love all of it. Battle for Bikini Bottom history, 100% trophies in Melee. It doesn't matter what it is, I'm gonna consume it and I cannot get enough of it. Mario 64 is in a similar vein to Super Metroid. It has its glitches and God knows it needs it, but a main focus on this game is getting the most optimal movement possible. And it's no surprise this is one of the most ran games of all time. Mario 64 is already popular, and with easy stuff to get into like 16-star runs, it makes stuff really competitive. Speedruns are great, but the streams and the personalities might be a little bit better. Every single game has its own interesting personalities, but man do I love Mario 64 runners. Simply, Squeaks, Clint, I could watch and rewatch their highlights all over again. It feels like they never complete a run in these, but these personalities are so funny and their chats are so engaging, it never gets old. Speedrunning is arguably not the most valuable skill to develop, but so many games have such tight-knit and supportive communities that I hope I inspired you to at least look at your favorite game to see how other people break it, or even try it yourself.